I have had enough of Carrie Lake's shtick in Arizona. We now have the data from Arizona. The Republican advantage in Arizona was 9 points. 75% of registered Republicans voted, 69% of registered Democrats voted. Republicans across the state of Arizona won. They kept the state legislature. They won. It is Carrie Lake who told McCain voters not to vote for her on Election Day. They did as they were told. She underperformed every other Republican except Blake Masters in Maricopa County. Carrie Lake could have run a really good campaign, but she chose to make it all about the stolen election, and now she wants to be the fangirl, poster girl for the Trump right. She would have been a good governor. And her arrogance and her beclowning herself in that race should doom her nomination in the future for anything else. She decided to go full-throated down the road of stolen election with no accountability. She can't accept that other Republicans won. She claims they stole the race from her. Republicans won a majority of the congressional delegation, so they were able to steal the governor's race, but not the congressional races. She doesn't think they stole the Senate race. Even Blake Masters isn't out there saying this. They just stole her race, so they bypassed all the other races and stole the governor's race. No. Carrie Lake told Republican voters not to vote for her if they liked John McCain. Carrie Lake turned off people who would have voted for her. And she doesn't want to be held accountable, and she knows there's a significant portion of the Republican base that will never hold her accountable for days before the election, telling Republican voters who were McCain voters, if they were McCain supporters, goodbye, don't vote for me. It's absurd. There's no evidence of theft. In fact, Republicans won a majority of the congressional delegation. They held on to the state legislature against the Democratic governor. You would think if the Democrats were smart enough to be able to steal an entire statewide race, they would have been able to steal county-level races and state legislative-level races, and they couldn't pull that off. Just that one candidate who believes the previous election was stolen, believes this election was stolen. Never mind, it's a damn lie. And she damned the GOP in Arizona. And now the Democratic governor is working to undermine school choice. And Carrie Lake owns that and can't accept responsibility. When we head into 2024, Democrats will be defending 23 Senate seats. Republicans will be defending just 11. Let me give you the list here. Republicans will be defending North Dakota, Wyoming, Utah, Nebraska, Texas, Missouri, Mississippi, Tennessee, Indiana, and Florida. Democrats will be defending Washington, Montana, Nevada, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New York, really Vermont, even though Bernie Sanders is technically a Democrat, and Maine, even though Angus King is technically an independent. You've got Democrats defending 23 seats, Republicans defending 11 seats, plus a special election in Nebraska for Pete Ricketts' seat. He'll win re-election. Republicans have opportunities, serious opportunities in Arizona, Nevada, Montana, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. Republicans could get to 57 seats in the U.S. Senate. Easy. But candidates matter. Donald Trump picked terrible candidates. Now, I realize there are some people who want to email the program and say, Donald Trump picked 2 bajillion candidates and only 15 of them lost, so he's got a 20 quadrillion percentage win margin. Donald Trump endorsed Republicans in races where there was no other candidate. Donald Trump endorsed Republicans in races where the district was drawn so heavily to be a Republican district that even a dead cat would have won against the Democrat. But Donald Trump also endorsed in places like Pennsylvania that lean Democrat. And his candidate won the primary with 0.1% of the vote and then lost because that candidate was a New Jersey resident pushed by Sean Hannity and Melania Trump named Dr. Oz, who couldn't even pronounce the basic institutions of Pennsylvania in a way Pennsylvanians would recognize. Donald Trump pushed Herschel Walker to get in Georgia. And now Georgia doesn't have a seat up in 2024. They've both been lost to the Democrats. John Ossoff, because Donald Trump said the 2020 election was stolen and his voters didn't show up in 2021, and pushed Herschel Walker into the race in 2022 against Raphael Warnock. An independent white suburban voter said, we're not going for the guy who can barely put a sentence together. I mean, let Pennsylvania have Fetterman. We're not going for Herschel Walker and all of his baggage. You may not like it, but if you can't understand why independent suburban voters didn't want to vote for Herschel Walker, you're not a smart person. I don't mean to insult your intelligence, but I'll tell you, I had a private breakfast with Herschel Walker, and I was fine supporting him. He'd be better than Warnock. But I got out of that breakfast and thought, holy cow, this guy's damaged goods. He'd still be better than Warnock, but I completely understand why a lot of voters are like, there is no way I'm voting for this guy. Donald Trump backed Blake Masters in Arizona. He did worse than Kari Lake. Adam Laxalt was a great candidate in Nevada. Donald Trump backed him, but nonetheless, he was a good candidate in Nevada. Nevada, they're going to have a hard time in 2024 because it's a presidential year as well. But there's still a shot if we get the right candidate. And Adam clearly wasn't it, but he was a good candidate. So we got to do better in Nevada. We can win in Wisconsin. Ron Johnson won. Surely we can win. We can win in Ohio. I mean, every Republican in Ohio won. Sherrod Brown coming up this time. He's beatable. West Virginia, beating Joe Manchin is a no-brainer at this point. Pennsylvania, David McClintock ran last time. He lost to Mehmet Oz by 0.1%. If he's the nominee, he's got money, he can win. Bob Casey is not a favored son of Pennsylvania anymore. We should be able to win that one. Virginia will be very tough. And then there's Montana. I don't think Matt Rosendale, who is too iconoclastic, can beat John Tester. He's not a good fit for Montana, I don't think, for this in a race. He's already lost to Tester once. But we can beat Tester with the right candidate. And I got to tell you, for once in my life, I'm hoping the National Republican Senatorial Committee gets involved in primaries and beats back some of these terrible candidates. We cannot afford to repeat what we did in 2022 with these terrible crap candidates in these states that we should have been able to win, and we couldn't because a bunch of voters decided to trust Donald Trump, and Donald Trump led these voters off a cliff. We need better candidates. Candidates matter. Had any of the other Republicans won in Georgia, they would have been able to take that seat from Raphael Warnock. Had Latham Sadler been the nominee in Georgia, he was for those of you unfamiliar with him, he was a Navy SEAL, backpacked through Afghanistan, building relationships, learned the language. One hell of an impressive story. He'd have beaten Raphael Warnock. I mean, Herschel Walker barely lost. Sadler would have won. Your candidate selection has to matter, Republicans. Missouri Republicans dodged a bullet with, what's his name, wife-beater creepy dude. Wife-beater creepy dude was Greitens, lost. Missouri would have gone Democrat. Thankfully, I mean, there was Eric Schmidt and Eric Greitens, and Trump did the too clever by half. I'm endorsing Eric. Oh, which one am I endorsing? I'm not going to tell you, idiot. He could have locked up that race and a whole lot of Republican resources and money if he had endorsed Schmidt early on, but he chose not to. He wanted to play it cute because he really wanted Greitens and knew what blowback he'd get. Friends, if Republicans will not be stupid in 2024, and that's a big if, I know, given this last time, and given the doubling down on stupid by the people in Arizona that, oh my gosh, Kari Lake had it stolen from her when none of the other Republicans had it stolen from them. It's clear it was stolen from her. If you're going to be stupid, just be stupid, but leave the rest of us alone. There are 23 Democratic seats up for grabs. Republicans could win 8 of them. There are 3 toss-ups. 50 of them favor Republicans. Right now, 50 Republicans, it looks like they could have a 50-seat 3 toss-up. Democrats and independents, but of those, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, they're all up for grabs. They slightly lean Democrat. Slightly lean Democrat. Montana and Arizona are toss-ups. The GOP can take the Senate and stop Joe Biden and stop his judicial picks if Republicans give up the habit of listening to Donald Trump and the grifters picking stupid candidates who cannot win. If we can do that, we can take the Senate and also take the White House, maybe hold the House in 2024.